All right, what is going on, FBA Alpha students of Sharon Evan? How is everyone doing today? Let me share my screen. I have a very special presentation set up for you guys. This is going to be how to validate with PickFu. Now, the first thing that I want to mention before I kind of jump into the meat and potatoes of this presentation is if you guys want either a recap of this video or you're looking at doing and running a PickFu test, you guys should go to pickfu.com/FBA Alphas 50. And you can also, so if you go there, you can either use the link or you can use the coupon code FBA Alphas 50 at checkout, and you'll get 50% off of your first PickFu test. The other thing that I want to mention really quick is this talk is going to cover some of the more basic, the more straightforward applications of PickFu. So I'm going to cover things like product design, branding, copy, and images. Now, this won't cover the more advanced, the more technical applications of PickFu, but if you guys are at that stage in your selling journey and you want me to come back on, I'm happy to cover things like A+, video, storefront design. What I will say as well, if you guys have any questions at all, before working for PickFu, I helped to run a creative agency. So I've literally seen like hundreds of these Amazon listings. My only job, I'm very fortunate, my only job here at PickFu is literally to hop on the phone, to chat with you guys and to help build out these presentations. So if you guys need any help at all, you want some extra direction or get some extra eyeballs on your listing, seriously, hit me up, Anthony@pickfu.com, and I'm happy to help out. The other thing I'll say as well is if you guys want more information on any of these things, I've got ready to go presentations on pretty much everything related to conversion optimization from a very technical standpoint. So if you guys have gone through any of these things and you're like, hey, I would love to learn more about one of these topics, feel free to hit me up. This is all free content. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to get on and do a Q&A, to do a more formal presentation on any of these items. Now, to kind of start off today, what is PickFu? I guess in one quick and simple sentence, I'd say that PickFu is instant consumer feedback. So imagine if you're selling a product on Amazon or you're about to sell a product and you've got this idea, right? What PickFu allows you to do is you can take that idea and you can share it to our panel of more than 10,000 real people, all based in the US, and you can get real feedback. Now, what I like to kind of ask sellers just as like a hypothetical question or just a very practical question, I guess, is where are you currently going to get your feedback? And the answers I hear most commonly are people go to their family. So you're going to your partner, you're going to your spouse, you're going to, your siblings, whoever it might be, and you're saying, hey, what do you think about this product packaging? Another big one that I hear is, yourself, right? So you go with your gut. You've been selling on Amazon, selling on e-commerce for a while, and so you feel like you've got a pretty good gut intuition about the direction you want to go. The last one that I hear is pretty common is people going to their friends or even going to, a Starbucks. I guess before COVID, you'd tap on the person in front of you and you'd say, hey, what do you think about this new product I'm launching? Now, the thing is that there's nothing particularly wrong with any of these methods. It's just possible that your friends or your family are going with your gut. It might just not be right. And the thing is, when you're putting this much time and effort and money a lot of the time into launching these products on Amazon, you really want to try to reduce risk and avoid making simple mistakes or simple issues when you're launching or selling your products that the customer is not going to like or it's not going to be appealing for them. And so PickFu kind of allows you, almost like a little bit of a fortune teller, it allows you to stop guessing and start knowing. So pretty much right away, you're able to go in, you can set up a PickFu test, you can target down to different audiences, so things like age, gender, demographic, even different interests. The other thing that's really cool about PickFu versus a normal split test, which a normal A/B test could run anywhere from 2, 4, 6+ weeks long, PickFu is almost instant. So the tests are usually going to be done anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And I think this is where the real magic comes in is that everyone who gives you a response on PickFu, they don't just vote. They're actually required to give you detailed feedback as to the specific reasons why they chose that response. The other thing that I really want to mention is that PickFu is 100% private. So I'm going to give a lot of examples today. It's going to show you a lot of examples. Everything here is either something that someone has intentionally made public, or these are tests that I've run or someone else on the team has run. Everyone on the PickFu panel, those 10,000 people, are all bound by very strict confidentiality agreements. So when you're launching your products, I know the last thing you want is for someone else to kind of take your ideas or to take your concepts. So this is kind of just a quick overview, real quick, of what the PickFu user interface looks like. One thing I do want to mention is that here you see kind of 4 options. It's not just a normal split test, rather, where you just have one option versus the other. You can actually test up to 8 options simultaneously. And this is what I was saying earlier, is that PickFu is more than just votes. It's useful and detailed feedback. So yes, everyone is voting. Do they like option A, option B? I don't even care so much when I'm running my PickFu tests. I don't really care so much what actually wins. I'm much more interested in this. And that's that detailed feedback I was talking about. Every person that responds to your poll is required to explain why. And I think the why is the most important part. This is also where I get some of my best and most out-of-the-box ideas, things that I hadn't even thought of, or that my brain probably wouldn't even be able to process, that is really helpful to creating better and more effective images. Okay, so with that being said, these are some of the most common tests. What I will say is it doesn't matter where you are in your selling journey, whether you just have an idea or whether you already have a product that's up, it's already been validated. You can kind of use PickFu at every step along the way. And so starting off, if you just have a strategy or just an overall rough idea or a concept, you can do an open-ended PickFu test. A real big application is right here in the middle, and that is the pre-creative test. So you're going to see a few examples of this today. Imagine if you're going to launch a product, you're about to spend the money on photography or on graphic design. What you can do is go and take your competitor's image, run them in a PickFu test, and see what do people really like about it, what would be improved, so you can go and create better images. Now, when you're further along in your selling journey, you already have something up, that's the big application of PickFu, is to run a competitive test. So you've created your new assets and you want to see apples to apples. How does your product compare against the competitor, and to benchmark and kind of get some feedback in that regard. Now I'm going to run through examples of all of these today, of all of the most common tests. What I will say is on average, people are running about 4 to 7 tests per product that they're launching. They're running about 4 to 7 tests using PickFu. Okay, so the first example I'm going to start off with is branding. And this is a situation that probably is relatable to many of you. You've figured out what you want to sell, but now you're like, what should the brand name be? So here we've got Get Up Labs versus Vim Labs, and you're able to see you've got the winner on the right-hand side, people giving some ideas for this new line of health supplements. Now, like I was saying earlier, you don't even need a logo. Here, you can just input just normal text, 2 different potential brand names for this pay-for-use discount club. Here's a good example of, we've already decided on what the brand name would be for this line of natural wood furniture, but now we're deciding between these 2 logos. And objectively, if you were to look at these, you would say that both options look quite good, but when you actually read the feedback, the detailed feedback given from the panel, people are much more inclined to go with option A because it shows the tree, it's natural, versus option B, again, a totally fine logo. I'd be happy to put this on my brand, but is this supposed to be a house? Is it a bed? This one's a little bit more clear and a little bit more intuitive. Now, in terms of product design, again, you might have used product research and you found out, hey, I know this product is selling and it's selling well. How do you actually decide what to make it look like? So here on the left-hand side, you've got a great example of this. You've got this bath tray that you can put these different items on, or this, I think it's a bed tray rather, that you can put these different items on. The exact same identical product, but what design are people more inclined to go with? A great example here as well, options B and option C, both the exact same home sweet home sign, but people really liked to see the US flag put into the heart rather than having the country separate. Right? It's a little bit more simple, a little bit more easy to digest. Another good option here is, like, if you're thinking about putting bonus items into your product, right? PickFu can help you decide, is the item that I'm adding in, is it actually going to add value to the product? Is it actually going to help the product work better? Or am I just kind of adding in something that's somewhat related? It's not really helping these leggings work any better. It's just kind of light relation there. Another good example here is thinking about quantity, right? So you might have used product research and you might know that eco-friendly plates are hot right now, right? But maybe it's very new, there's not a lot of other people selling it, and you're saying, well, what quantity should I sell them in? And so PickFu can help you make those decisions. 25 here, tested all the way up to 300 units. PickFu allows you to kind of test these out-of-the-box concept ideas. So what I like to do is I like to take a product when I'm manufacturing it, and I like to break it down into all of its individual components. So things like your zipper type, your material finish, your thread color, your handle type. Again, these are all small little changes, but PickFu can help you kind of take some of the guesswork out of even designing your products to create something that's going to be a better value to the customer. Now, product packaging, again, this is a super big one because when you launch your products, I'll skip, I won't get to that just yet, but when you're launching your products, not only every single time that you have the product in packaging, it's costing you money, but product packaging also isn't the easiest thing to go and change. So you're probably not going to go and pull your existing items to go and revamp or change your product packaging. It's going to take a little bit of time. So you might think of this as just like huge changes in your product packaging, but where we see the most practical applications of PickFu is once you've already kind of decided on packaging that looks good, then you can just do these small little tests with color variations. Now, option A and option B both objectively look totally fine, but if you see, people are much more inclined because this looks more contrasted, it looks more professional. Again, this could be a huge impact if you're running pay-per-click. This could be a huge impact on something like your click-through rate. You might get a lot more eyeballs or a lot more attention with option B, and you wouldn't really know or have the intuition to do that without running some kind of feedback test. Here's another really good example. We've got this immune support. All three of these options objectively look clean. I would be happy to launch any of these on my brands. But if you look at the feedback for why option A has won here, it's because this is much more in a list format. As I'm going down the bottle, I can very quickly and easily see, okay, it's an immune supplement. I know I want zinc. I know I want vitamin C, all of the other options there. As well, too, again, small little changes in color, just the different contrast between the label and the cap versus this one being all blue. You really get a lot of ideas about which design and which type the customer is going to be more inclined to click on and what catches their eye. Copywriting is obviously a big one. So here we've got an example. This is for two top sellers of this electric desk fan. People are much more inclined towards option A just based on the depth and more information, but check this out, right? This is what we call leading words. Now, a lot of Amazon sellers know this, that on average, shoppers are only gonna read your first 3 bullet points. And so if they do even read those bullet points, they're probably gonna be skimming through. And so these leading words are right here, right? We have powerful, wind, and quietness. Okay, what you could use PickFu for is to say, okay, if someone's going to read this bullet point, what words can I put here that even if they skim it, or even if they're just looking at it for a few seconds, it should indicate the point and the message of this whole thing. So you can use PickFu to test different variations of your leading words to make sure that the message is getting in to the customer. Again, when you're doing this, when you're launching products, when you're building your listings, you're going to most likely, I hope so, you're most likely going to be using product research tools. So you'll know what words should be included in your listing, but what about different things like changing the order of words or whether or not to include your title? PickFu can help you make these decisions, and it can help you clarify your title and build a better title for its clarity and intent. What I like to do as well with my copywriting team, whether it's for my descriptions, whether it's for my A+ content, even for my product packaging, is I say, hey, give me for the description, give me one version that's informational and give me another version that I'd say is more humorous or more lighthearted. And then what I'll do is I'll run a PickFu test with both of those different options to see which one vibes better with the customer, which one is going to resonate, which one's going to have a more emotional response. Okay, images are obviously a big one. So when I first started selling on Amazon, you could get away with an image like this. Objectively, it looks pretty good. It's clean, it looks symmetrical, it's well lit. But when I compare it to this, right, not really much of a comparison. I can see what the product is used for. I can see that it holds different size items, that some bags have holes and others where they would not need to have holes like these beans. It gives a good idea for what types of things you'd use the product for. And so a good example here is you've got this apple slicer. Option B, again, it's clear, it's crisp, but now if I compare it with option A, this is taking a resounding majority of the votes because now I see, okay, this isn't just a random tool that might be in my workshop. This is specifically meant for peeling apples. Okay, this is a good example as well because we're not just actually saying which design do you prefer. Both of these infographics are trying to do the exact same thing. They're trying to overcome an objection, which is really common with this product, these Bluetooth wireless headphones. And that's how easy is it going to actually be, to pair these headphones, to connect them to my phone. And so that's the question that we're asking here. And people are really heavily gravitating towards option B. And the reason why is because unlike this, which has all these confusing and distracting things, this I can see, it's easy to digest. I've got the phone, I can see how big they are. I can see how the pairing interface looks actually inside of the Bluetooth menu. I think I mentioned earlier that you can test up to 8 options simultaneously using PickFu. This is a really good example. Here we see 3. All 3 of these graphics, very similar to the one before. These are very, very similar, almost identical. Not from a visual standpoint, but they're trying to do the exact same thing. They're trying to show you the before and after of what your face is going to look like after using this jade roller. And so if I were to go and launch this product, if I knew, hey, I want to sell a jade roller, I'm going to go and pull these top 3 images from the competitors, and I'm going to see, okay, what do people like about these images? And if I'm going to create a similar one, because I know this before and after image is going to be very helpful, what can I combine, what can I use, and what can I learn from what's already out there to create something that's more effective, that has even better messaging. So guys, I guess the big takeaway from all this for all the folks in the FBA Alphas group is what I would highly recommend is to start thinking about product feedback as an essential component of launching and selling a product on Amazon. So the good example that I like to give is you have brands like Under Armour and Nike. When they're launching products, they're spending anywhere from $45,000 to $75,000 per product. And it kind of makes sense, right? When they launch a product, they're investing a huge amount of time, effort, resources, payroll to getting these products launched. And the last thing that they want is to put something out that any little bit of it the customer is going to get and say, hey, maybe this actually isn't what we want, and then have a complete failure of a product launch. Now, for individual sellers, it could be a little bit hard to go and get that feedback. That's kind of where PickFu comes in. It's very reasonably priced, $50 a test. And again, it allows you to, even if you're going with your gut, right, it allows you to validate that, but then also get some detailed feedback as to why people chose the answer, and it allows you to come and create even better designs. So, when people are running their test, I would say this is a pretty big differentiator based on what we've seen between sellers that are moderately successful and ones that are extremely successful, is they're running a combination of these tests, or sometimes there's a specific element that they're really diving into and they're running, kind of multiple tests in the same category. But generally, we're seeing people are running about 4 to 7 tests per product that they're launching, the same way that you wouldn't skimp on your quality inspections or your freight forwarder or whatever, anything like that. You probably want to start integrating consumer feedback into your launch process. But if you're sitting there and you're saying, Anthony, I've been selling on Amazon for 10 years and my gut, I've been right 100% of the time. Look, I would say don't take my word for it. There's this little company that you guys might have heard of called Thrasio. What Thrasio does is they go and acquire Amazon FBA brands. They go and optimize, change different things. And as the value of the brand grows, then their fund grows as well. And so these headlines came out maybe about a week and a half ago, and it's talking about how Thrasio was set a record to be the first profitable company in the US to reach unicorn status. That's $1 billion in valuation. And we have a really good case study that you can check out on our website about this brand, Angry Orange. So it's one of the fastest growing brands of pet deodorizers. This was their original packaging, right? And through a bunch of PickFu tests, you can read in the case study, it outlines how they use PickFu to optimize their product packaging, taking them from this to this, which looks a little bit better, and how they grew that brand from $2 million to $20 million. So if you're on the fence and you're like, I don't really know if consumer feedback is important in my business, look, go check out this video. It's super short on our YouTube channel, and you'll see John. He's a VP at Thrasio, and he's talking about how they use PickFu in almost every major creative decision. So again, look, don't take my word for it. These guys are the best when it comes to doing this stuff. Not only $1 billion valuation, but they've got an entire team based out of Boston, which are almost all MIT grads. They're using PickFu. I'd probably recommend, doing, look, you don't need to use PickFu. You can use anything you want, but I would recommend moving beyond, asking your family or your friends, or just asking a couple people before you put so much time and effort. Think about probably getting some kind of feedback on your ideas. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching it. Sharon, thank you so much for allowing me to share this video. If you guys do want to run a PickFu test, I highly recommend, please use the code FBA Alphas 50. You'll get 50% off of your first test. And I really do mean this, guys. If you need anything at all, if you want me to take a look at your listing, if you want me to just hop on the phone and point you in the right direction on setting up some tests, seriously, this is my only job. So hit me up, Anthony@pickfu.com. And with that being said, I'll end the recording. Thanks so much, guys, and have a fantastic day.